Welcome to the Transformational Storyteller Podcast. The stories we tell ourselves and others shape the lives we lead. I'm your host, Dara Lise Lyons. Welcome to another episode of the Transformational Storyteller Podcast, where the stories that we tell shape the lives that we live. My next guest has lived and is living a really exciting life, and one that I'm eager to know more about, as I'm sure you will be too. He has, I don't want to ruin his story by telling too much about it, but he has an adventurous spirit, and he is a resilient person, and without telling too much, he's kind of a survivor. So I'll let him tell you his story.
What's going on? My name is Wendell Holland, born and raised here in Philadelphia. And last year, in 2018, I was on the CBS show Survivor Ghost Island. It had been a dream of mine for a long time, probably like a decade, and it took a lot of work for me to get on the show, but I think I put in the right time and energy. I studied the game, sent in a lot of application tapes, and finally, eventually, they allowed me to go on the show. And I made the most of my opportunity. I won Survivor. It was an amazing experience, and I'd love to tell you guys a little more about it.
So one of the things I understand about Survivor is that it is all about alliances and kind of who you got in your corner and the logistical, relationships that you're able to create. And to that end, I am really excited that one of our show sponsors for this episode is Kismet Co-work. If you have not experienced the power of co-working yet, but you work from home or maybe work for an organization that's small and and you're feeling kind of isolated, or like you're not part of a group, working in a co-working space can be a great way to get plugged in, get involved, create collaborations, network. And so Kismet Co-work is offering $25 off of a first month membership to anyone who watches or listens to this podcast. All you have to do is go to www.kismetcowork.com. You can check out their website, get in contact with them, and just mention Dara Lise or the Transformational Storyteller Podcast for 25% off your first month. So thank you so much for agreeing to be on today.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you inviting me out here.
Yeah, I am so excited. And I really, I want to start off with talking to you about the issue of manifesting your dream, because that is something that I am intensely interested in. So tell me more about how that worked for you.
All right, so sometime back, I'd say around law school or something, I started watching Survivor just as something to do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, it's a crazy game. There's a lot of social interactions, there's a lot of physical stuff, and there's actual survival going on out there.
Yes.
I'm like, you know what? I've never went camping before, but I'm kind of physical, I'm kind of athletic, and I'm kind of social. So yeah. I could probably find a way to survive, but I thought that would be something that I'd be good at, this show, Survivor.
Yeah.
So when I started watching maybe 10 years ago, I started taking notes on game strategy and how I would play and stuff. Watching it as if I knew I was gonna get on.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I started applying, and that was back when I was clean cut. I wasn't I wasn't living my best life at that time. So but I kept applying and I kept on studying. If I showed you my Survivor notes in my phone, it's if I were to print it out, it would be 30 pages. Because to this day, I still take notes on Survivor.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was went to law school, then I was clerking for a few judges in Philly, still applying and like sending in videos in the judges' chambers or in the courtroom, suit and tie, clean cut.
Yeah.
And nothing happened. And then I left the law and I started a furniture company.
Yeah.
Started expressing myself and having a creative outlet. And I think I really became myself. And then when I applied that's when I was accepted. That's when they wanted that version of Wendell, I assume.
Yeah, well, they wanted the authentic you. And I think we can't really manifest our dreams until we kind of are who we are, right? Yeah, and we're like aligned with that.
Yeah. And that's what happened with me. I felt like at that time I was building and traveling, and I was living it felt like I was in the right space at the right time, and I guess that's what they wanted. And what's so cool is when I got out there, I did very well, and I won.
Yeah.
So it's like that version of Wendell, not the law student, not the law clerk. That was the version of Wendell that was best for that show.
Right, and if you had gone when you were maybe the law clerk, like, I don't know that you would have lasted as long.
I wouldn't have. And I attribute that to me. When I went on, we filmed 2 years ago. I was 33 years old. And I was out there with a bunch of 20-somethings. There were some people older, but there were a lot of people younger than me.
Yeah.
And I think that being a 33-year-old man, I had been through successes and failures, and I've been lied to, and I've been whatever. I've just been through a lot.
Yeah.
So I don't think that everything I say or every lie that I might tell on Survivor everyone will just believe it. I've been through things, so I stayed humble out there, and I understood that like things will go wrong out there, and you just got to call audibles and keep moving.
Yes.
Just like in life, things go wrong. So I think if I was a 20-something out there, I would have just thought that, anything I can do is just going to go over. But that's not the case.
Right.
You got to, in a game like Survivor, you got to stay humble, keep your head down, and just grind.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what that was.
Well, and it's so interesting, right? Because like you've got this spiritual element, like you made this thing happen, and you put yourself in that, in that arena, and but at the same time, you talk about taking notes, right? Like that so that there's this practicality to it, and at the same time, like kind of like this willingness to just be humble and just like show up and not really know what's going to happen. So how do you balance those?
So I'm a preparation guy. The 5 P's, proper preparation prevents poor performance.
No, I don't. Say that again.
Proper preparation prevents poor performance.
Okay.
Right? So I know, or prior preparation, whatever you want.
Yeah.
I know that if I am well prepared, then when my opportunity comes, I'll be, well suited for that opportunity.
Yeah.
So I've been preparing and kind of, I guess, creating my luck. Like, if you think that something's going to happen, if you know that something's going to happen, why not prepare yourself for that?
Yeah.
So the whole time I was studying the game, because there are so many different social components and aspects and just nuances that if you don't watch Survivor, or if you don't watch the evolution of Survivor, you might not necessarily know.
Right.
Little things, like dumb things, like people sleep. Usually it's like one big sleeping, like a big bed, not really a bed, just a bamboo. Yeah. People kind of sleep within their alliances.
Yeah.
You don't know that, but unless you watch and you kind of understand that. So what did I do? I slept away from my alliance every single night. I just slept like actually next to a guy that I was trying to vote out. Yeah. Because it's like you don't want to give too much up. And I definitely saw like alliances kind of sticking together like that. Or like if we were on the island and Zach voted you off and you were my ally, and then me and Zach have to then go back to the island, I can't just be mad and flipping stuff. I have to find a way to be cool and make things work with them. Well,
if we were on the island, don't align with me. No? I wouldn't survive more than like a day. Like I have no survival skills.
I had no survival skills. I hadn't been camping a day in my life. Oh, wow. But I knew that to go on the show, you would need to know how to make fire, for example, with flint. Okay. So every day in my mom's backyard, I'm practicing making fire with flint. And then I get to
Wait, how do you make fire with flint?
You have this like this piece of magnesium.
Yeah.
And like like a knife or a machete or something. You have to scrape the magnesium off.
Okay.
So you have like a little mound of magnesium amongst some kind of tinder, dry leaves, whatever you need. And then you have to you flip the magnesium over and there's like a stone and you have to strike the stone. And when a spark hits the magnesium in the tinder, then it ignites it.
Got
it sounds a little easier, but it's not so easy.
No, it doesn't sound easy to me at all. But I really think like this is the part about like preparation that you were talking about, right? Like that you're getting those skills like in advance.
Yep. So with the knowledge that I'm going on the show, this is like maybe 2 months before I actually went out there. I got the call. So then every single day I practiced making fire with flint. And I'd go in my parents' backyard and I'm just like, hey mom, I'm out back making fire. And she's just like, all right son, sure. Whatever, okay? And I recorded my first time doing it. It took me like 15 minutes.
Okay.
And then I got down to doing it within 2 minutes.
Wow.
Just making it real fast. And then I get on this island and there's a new twist where at the final 4, there's a challenge and the winner gets to take one person to the end. And then the final 2, there's a fire making challenge to get to see who the third person is to get to the end.
God.
So I ended up in that fire making challenge against like a military vet and I was able to beat her.
Right, because you had gotten it down.
Been prepared, And it all worked. And I had no idea that there'd be this challenge to make it to the top 3, but that's what got me into the top 3 and allowed me to plead my case to the jury and ultimately
win. Well, you know, so I do some acting, right? And really, essentially, the whole, like, 90% of acting is just, like, getting prepared beforehand. You just know your lines. And then you can go in and you don't have to worry about the lines and you can just kind of show up and, like, let go and just be. And I feel like that's exactly what you're talking about. It's like the more you learn in advance, the more second nature it becomes.
It's just natural. Boom. It just, And then it's like, I've been living my life in sports. And, you know, so I know teamwork, like team sports. So I know teamwork. I know how to lead. And I've been social all my life. And I've traveled all my life and done exchanges in college and seen the world. So it's like and seen America. So like Survivor's a cross section of America. Right. They bring people from everywhere, the craziest backgrounds. And then I wind up on this island with these people and I'm able to connect with everyone. So they don't necessarily want to vote me out early. And as I make it along, I start winning things like you win immunity and you're immune from being voted out that night. Right. Won a couple of those and I ended up in the final 3.
That is so cool. Well, and I mean, how much you talked about being a furniture maker and that's what you do now. Like, I feel like those skills probably translated pretty well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you a little about that. I went out there and I was just like, all right, I'll be that guy that builds a dope shelter for everyone and whatever we need, I'll just be able to build it. At one point, a friend of mine named Kellen, she broke her belt. So I spent like 3 days with some fishing wire just fixing her belt up. I made necklaces for people out there. So I was just being friendly and being, I had some utility out there. Like I built a pantry for this girl named Libby out there. She loved cooking. Me and my friend Michael built like a tool shed because he liked building. So I was just building things to make the camp life, to make it better. Because then if it's seamless at camp or kind of like at home, then when you go in a challenge, you weren't sleeping on, you weren't in a terrible environment and then going out to try to compete. You were in a happy, dope environment, and then you're happy and you're excited and you go out and compete and then you win. And my tribe, we won like a lot of the early challenges.
Right. Well, and speaking of, a show like Survivor, right? I feel like some shows you want to get the people with the skills off as soon as possible because it's like, I don't want to go up against people with the skills, but something like this, like you're gonna need someone that can build a fire with flint until the absolute last minute, right?
Yes. See, that's the thing. If they were smart, they would have got me out there early, straight up. I know they're very smart. But Man, it's like
If they'd watched as much Survivor as you'd watched, they would have voted you off early, is what
we
you're
had
saying.
some super fans out there that watched I've watched for the last decade. They've
Yeah.
watched Survivor's going into its 20th year next year.
Wow.
So they've watched since 2000.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, they know a lot, but it's like when you get on this island and you're dealing with real human interactions with people.
Yeah.
Who do you want to be around? Do you want to be around like a jerk who's just running around and being narcissistic and saying weird things to people? Or do you want to be around someone friendly for the next 39 days?
Yeah.
Someone that will provide a service. But then ultimately, that friendly person, people want to vote for that guy at the end. They want to give him the money. So it's a double-edged sword, and it's tricky. And fortunately, I was able to be likable, but not too likable to where they voted me out early. But I was in that sweet spot. You're gonna be like kind of like average for the first half, and then turn it up near the end.
Right. Got it. Well, and how many people did they have to start?
Started out with 20 people, 2 tribes of 10.
Okay.
Sometimes they start with 3 tribes, or they do different things. But we were 2 of 10.
Wow. Yeah. And so then you just like sort of like hoping that you get to the next level.
Yeah. So what's crazy is in the third, I said we won a lot to start, but what they do is they have your tribes, and then after a couple challenges, maybe like a week into the game, they'll do a tribe swap. So you reach into a hat and grab a new Survivor buff.
Yeah.
It's like the scarf.
Okay.
And so then the tribes mix up. So after our first swap, we won the first challenges. Then after the first swap, we got mixed up a little, shuffled a little. And I had an alliance with this guy named Dominic. He's like he's a couple years older than me, and he's from New York. He's this kind of like tough Italian dude, like a Northeastern guy. I was like, you know what? We'll be solid together. And we thought we were just running stuff. So we tell everyone the plan of who we wanted to vote out, and we thought everyone was on the same page after this tribe swap. So we have like 4 new people that we were just competing against come in with us, and they're like, yeah, we got you. So we go to tribal council, and me and Dominic are like on our high horses, and we're like joking in the tribal council, and we're ready to vote this other person out. And the 4 people that came in, they didn't go with our plan, and they blindsided us and got our closest ally, Morgan, out that night. This was day like 9 or 10 or something like that. And we were shocked.
Yeah.
But it was that shock that kind of like woke me up.
Yes.
Like, you can't believe anyone out here. Anything's possible, and you have to understand the different possibilities. Those 4 people, they could have listened to us and voted out the person that we wanted to, but that wasn't playing their best game at the time. That was playing Wendell and Dom's best game.
Yeah.
So I think that's what like kind of really woke me up out there. Like, whoa, I'm playing Survivor. I need to be the friendly guy, but I also need to understand everything that's going on and try to see myself in other people's shoes and what should they do at the time?
Yeah. Well, and it's mind-boggling, right? Because you mentioned you're a social person. Like I see on Instagram and stuff that you're still connected with a lot of these people from the show and all that. And like, so how are you legitimately friends with people that kind of where there's backstabbing going on and all that?
It doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
Some seasons are closer than others.
Okay.
And sometimes it depends on the theme. Sometimes the theme allows for people to get closer or whatever. But as the game has evolved, and you're getting a lot of people that truly watch onto the show.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know what? This is a game. This is a game that deals with lying, cheating, stealing, backstabbing, and doing whatever you can to win $1 million at the end. But outside of the game, we're real people with real emotions, and we're all probably good people.
Yes.
So we understand in this game, it's like a heavyweight fight. You can in the ring throw haymakers and try to knock somebody out, but outside the ring, you'll give them a hug, like, yo, good fight.
Right.
There's a respect for that thing that happens in that arena. Yeah. So I guess with my season especially, it's like people respect the game, and what's outside the game is real people and real emotions.
Yeah.
With families and children,
Well, who also have this unique experience to share, right? Because
That's
nobody, I mean, like, I've never been camping a day in my life, but even people who have been camping, they haven't been your version of camping, right? Like, I mean, that is intense stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Like one night it was pouring rain on us, and we had this was after a swap, so they sent me and 4 others to a whole new island. We had to start over.
Yeah.
And so we didn't build any roof. We were just like, all right, we're probably going to be out here for 5 days. Let's just build our bed and sleep on it. And of course, during that time, it pours on us one night. And so I find myself like we're shivering and the rain isn't stopping. It's like a monsoon. And we're just, me and 2 others, Chris and Laurel, we just start walking around the island trying to find refuge. And we couldn't find anything. And we ended up on the beach, like getting poured on. And the 3 of us just spooned each other and we just held each other. And it was just like, maybe we'll survive. And we ended up waking up in the morning on that beach. I think a producer might have kicked us or something like that.
Oh my God.
But it's just like, you share this experience with these people. And then you extend that to the greater survivor community.
Yep.
I was on season 36.
Wow.
That's 20 people times 36. There are over like 500 survivors.
Yeah.
And we call it the survivor family because you all have this shared experience. And a lot of times when you get together and you meet other castaways, it's just like, it's all love and it's big hugs and it's a good time, you know?
Oh my gosh, completely. Because you all probably have a totally different language. Like you've just been through different things. So this is kind of a side note, but you mentioned a producer maybe kicking you guys. What do the producers do? Do they get to stay places or what? Yeah, what's that like?
They have what's called base camp.
Okay.
So they have a different island, and I think they come in like 12-hour shifts or something like that.
God.
And what I really respect about the whole crew, it's been in Fiji for the last like 6 or 7 seasons.
Yep.
And they employ hundreds of Fijians, and so you'll see on TV, you'll see like 8 castaways, but then there are like, in the challenges, there might be 100 people with cameras and producers and other things just watching and directing and stuff. And when you're on the island, they, when I say like I really respect the process, they're not going to be out there eating or like, you won't smell like foods or anything because they know that you're really starving. Yeah. They don't sneak us Snickers bars and things like that. We're really eating coconuts and a small portion of rice and maybe some slugs and snails and whatever we can catch.
Yeah.
So they're like the ultimate professionals out there, but they're kind of like surviving too with these long shifts where they can't really eat or anything.
Right, yeah.
And especially think of the camera crew. If I want to go catch a fish or something, I got to go dive in the ocean and try to catch it. Yeah. And the cameraman's like, all right, I got to go dive in. I got to get my water gear on and dive in. You know, they're out there. Yeah. They're out there doing it too.
Right, which, you know, I mean, I know from film sets and stuff, if you don't feed people for 5 hours, they get pretty miserable. So, like, I mean, that's amazing that they are right there with you. And
I was very impressed and thankful for like the professionalism of the crew. I mean, they're the best in the business. They've been doing it for so long. I think what they said was they took they had a lot of cameramen from like South Africa and from Australia that film wildlife. Yeah. And if you think of like, if I'm filming a giraffe doesn't have a script. They're just running wherever they want to run. Yeah. So this cameraman is great at doing that. Chasing wildlife. Right. So in the game of Survivor, we don't have a script. We're running around an island, you know, plotting and scheming. So
well, and like struggling to get some slugs or whatever it is. Man. Yeah.
I had to eat a hermit crab. I ate snails. Wow. I got lucky. We caught some crabs sometimes. Caught a little fish a couple times. Gosh.
How has the experience changed? So, you know, you go there, you're there for a few months out of your life, and then you come back into the real world. Like, how has your perspective on life shifted as a result of Survivor?
I was always very confident in myself, and I thought that I could achieve anything I put my mind to. Yeah. But I think Survivor really like amplified that because this was, I don't know what other huge dream I had. This is a dream that like you almost think you can't accomplish. Like getting on this TV show. The first season there were 50 million viewers for the finale.
Yeah.
It's like this is a huge thing. Now the viewership is not nearly that. It's more like 9-8 million. But
9-8 million
that's
is
so huge,
right. Yeah.
And we have a lot of like loyal fans, and I was one of those fans. It's like this dream that you don't know you will ever really accomplish, and then for you to accomplish that, for me that was like winning the NBA championship, you know.
And had you ever met a survivor before?
Okay, being a Survivor nerd, yes. So I know of a bunch of the castaways before I was on, like years before I was on. I'd find them on Facebook, I'd follow them, some I'd shoot messages to. So there was this one guy named Russell Swan from Philadelphia, a Philly attorney. And I'm clerking in City Hall for a judge. So I'm like dealing with all the, lots of attorneys every day. And one day I was like out on Dilworth Plaza in front of City Hall, and I see this guy with dreads walking down. I'm like, yo, that's Russell from Survivor. And I'm like, this is my chance. I ran up to him so fast. I was like, yo, Russell, you don't know me. My name is Wendell. I've been applying for Survivor, and I'm gonna get on. I promise you I'm gonna get on. He was like, oh yeah, that's what's up. Tapped me up, kept it moving, stalked him on Facebook, sent him a few messages like, yo, Russ, we met. I'm gonna get on one day.
Oh my gosh.
So I, like 2-3 years later, I get on, I win, I come back home, and there's like an 8-month lag before my season airs. So during that lag, I was like, you know what, let me reach back out to Russ. So I sent him a message. I was like, yo, bro, I got on. And he was like, oh, that's what's up. Good luck out there. I'm like, nah, man, I just got back from the island.
Wow,
He was like, oh, that's what's up. So he started like coming out to my watch parties.
Oh, nice.
And we invited fans to watch parties, and they got like bigger and bigger and bigger as the season progressed.
Right,
People were like, wait a minute, Wendell, you're doing pretty good out there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's amazing. And you had so much in common with him, what with him being in the law and you being in the law.
And he was like a real competitor out there too. He played twice.
Really? Okay. Well, and I wanted to ask, so I'm really glad that we brought it back to the law. Like, when did you make the decision to leave?
Okay. So that's a great question. I was, the last court I ended up in was family court.
Okay.
And for me, I'm like a family guy. I love my family. And family court is a miserable place.
Oh, yeah.
It's miserable. You see like fathers coming in crying, mothers crying, children crying. I was seeing abuse cases, dealing with custody, making restraining orders and things. Signing off on all that stuff. And I'm like, man, this is a miserable place. And at the same time, I'd always been handy and I could build little things, but then I built my own bed while I was working in court, just as some kind of outlet. I needed a bed, and I built it for myself, and it was a beautiful bed. Not compared to what I build now. It looks a little janky and proportions were off, but it was a great bed, and people started I posted it on my social media, and people started reaching out for me to build things for them, friends and family. So on the side, I'm law clerking, but then I'm also building things on the side. And as that business is growing and I'm feeling more fulfilled building and creating, then my judge retired. I found an opportunity. I was like, wow, this side hustle was growing. Like there was real growth. And now I have an opportunity to actually go full force in it. So that's when I gave it a name. It's the name is Beeve Unlimited. My childhood nickname is Beeve.
Okay, and spell that.
B-E-V-E.
B-E-V-E.
B-E-V-E Unlimited.
Okay.
So I decided to name it after this childhood nickname that my family called me. It was like just family and close friends called me Beeve. And then Unlimited because we build like everything. And I feel like in that creative space, me and my team, we're limitless,
Yes.
Beeve Unlimited.
That's awesome. Yeah, and can people like from anywhere get in contact with you and commission stuff?
They can,
or how does that work?
We have stuff all across the country. It's easier for us like up and down the East Coast.
Okay.
But we have stuff in California, Chicago, Miami, Martha's Vineyard. We have stuff everywhere. And you could just reach out to us on Instagram at Beav Unlimited.
Yeah.
You can go to wendellholland.com.
Yep, and I'm gonna put all that in the show notes, and then people
Yeah.
can say like, yeah, I've got this table made from, you know, the winner
Yeah.
of Survivor Ghost Island or whatever.
So
Yes.
that's happened.
Yeah.
So fans have purchased things, you know.
Yeah.
Fans become clients. It's kind of cool.
And clients become fans. Right?
True, that's
Yes,
another thing.
Yeah.
It's like you got something before I was on the show, and now I'm on the show, and you know they're like, "Yo, Wendell from Survivor freaking made this."
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because I think there is this tendency to want to sort of compartmentalize people, right? And be like, oh, Wendell, the law clerk, or you know, the law student, or the creator, or the Survivor winner. But like, really, what I hear you talking about is like that you're like a pretty integrated person, right? And that all the things you do kind of support one another.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and. Is it correct that you got into horticulture after being on Survivor?
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm glad that you mentioned that. My apartment is like a little jungle now. So I don't know how. A friend of mine, she gifted me this little, like a succulent.
Yes.
And
okay.
I'm like, I don't know anything about plants, but this is easy to, it has like no real care. Like you spray it once every 3 weeks or something, and it lives.
Yeah.
And then another friend of mine, Bryce, who was on Survivor like a few years before me.
Yep.
This Survivor family, like we're all friends now.
Yeah,
All the Philly survivors. So Bryce, he gifted me a plant too.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I got 2 plants. And then I started like getting more and more plants. And all of a sudden I look around, I have like 70, 80 plants in my apartment.
Oh my God. How big is your apartment?
It's not big. It's
You're
like,
probably going to be the only person who needs to move because you need more room for your plants.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I'm like inventing places in my own apartment to put plants. Like, oh, this plant could go in this walkway right here. Yeah, sure. I'll just move it every time I need to walk through.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, you're used to like sleeping in the wild, right?
Yeah. I have a real tree. I recently put a tree in my bedroom.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so we have a tree in there.
Oh my goodness. Wow. That's awesome. Well, and then, you know, I heard about Survivor and I'm like, oh, like, man, you win $1 million, right? $1 million back in the day used to seem like a lot of money, but I read that you used your winnings to pay off your student loans. Is that?
You read that?
Yeah, I read that. Or that's what you said you were going to do or something in an interview, right?
Well,
is that
no. Okay. I wanted to invest my money. So I went to a company called the Pennsylvania Trust. That's where my dad invested his money.
Okay.
I asked my dad, I was like, yo, about to get $1 million, Pops. What should I do with it?
Wow, that's a nice question to get as a father, right?
So he was very proud, but he brought me to the company he invested with.
Got it.
But I do have like a pile of law school loans.
Yeah.
And you know, you got to pay your taxes.
I know, right?
A couple weeks ago, they took a huge chunk.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my goodness! A couple weeks ago, I had to wire that money. So basically, what I did, I invested the money in a diversified portfolio.
Yep.
Because I don't want to be stupid with my money. And what else did I do? I pay off my student loans monthly.
Yep. Okay.
I didn't want to just pay that huge lump sum. So I paid those off monthly, and I made one investment in an investment property. So my friend and I found this property near Northern Liberties for an amazing price.
Got it. Okay.
And we bought that property as a 4-unit. So we're rehabbing that.
So you didn't do anything like ludicrous or ridiculous or irresponsible?
That's what I'm 35 now. It's like, what do I need? I bought a car before Survivor for the business.
Yes.
A big Suburban where I can transport furniture and I can put a trailer on. So like I have a nice car out there. Like it gets the job done for me.
Yeah, I got it.
And I haven't made any big purchases because I don't need much, and I'm frugal and I'm cheap. Okay. Straight up, like.
Well, all that planning and that preparation and whatever. Yeah, I'm like you're so organized and on the ball with stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I think. I don't know. The easiest way to lose all that money is to spend it on foolish things.
Right.
I got that investment property, and hopefully we're gonna like refinance and use that money to buy more properties, so I won't have to really touch my nest egg.
Well, I think it's just this amazing marriage that you have, right? Of like being this sort of like free spirit, this creative person, this person who can just sort of like go with the flow, and at the same time like does make these responsible like adult decisions.
Yeah, so I think it has to do a lot with my father. He worked very, very hard. He's a retired Philly attorney.
Okay.
And he also had a government job. He was in Harrisburg. And whenever I'd see, I now know that he's had successes and failures in his life. But if he'd been fired from jobs or whatever, I never saw that as his son. I just saw him on to the next thing, and just like he always was moving forward.
Right.
And it seemed like he was just so calculating, and failure was never an option. It's like, all right, if this doesn't happen, I'm not gonna wallow in my sorrows. It's what's the next move? And I think I get a lot of that from him. So a lot of the fans, they said like I was boring and I wasn't doing this or that, but it was really because like I was locked in and calculating and focusing on my next move. I wasn't focusing on giving you a great TV show. I was focusing on getting to the end of that TV show and winning that show.
Yes.
So sometimes I keep my nose down and I grind, but I'm also a free spirit, and I just...
Well, I relate to that totally, right? Because I'm like an actress and I'm a writer, but like I get my butt in the seat and I write, for hours and hours, and much of my life is like super boring. I'm in my pajamas, like working hard. And then I have these amazing life experiences, right? And I find that's the only way I know how to live. So I'm right there with you. That stuff. I'm like, I'm gonna balance my checkbook today. Like,
Like when you gotta lock in, but then you can also enjoy yourself.
Right.
And a lot of times that allows you or affords you the time to enjoy yourself.
Yes. And vice versa. You can fully enjoy yourself because then you're not thinking about like all the things that are undone because you already got it taken care of. Yeah.
What I'm finding now, and it took a while for me to understand this, is especially as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Like the downtime and the self-care time and time for you to just like meditate or relax or do something. For me, taking care of my plants takes me away from things. I could easily be in my shop working 24 hours a day. But then it's like, I'm not taking care of myself.
No.
So I need to have certain hours that I'm working and other hours that I'm like doing other things. I'm exercising, or I'm trying to eat right, or I'm spending the right time with my mother who only lives 15 minutes from me. Those are the things that you have to. I look at it as a bunch of glasses on a table, and you got to keep all the glasses relatively full. Don't let any of your glasses empty out or anything like that. And it's like family, there's work, there's friendships, there's taking care of myself. There's a lot.
There is a lot, and all of it is like good stuff, right? With the right kind. I think plants are a great analogy. Like if you kind of water them appropriately, they will thrive.
Yes.
Yeah.
You gotta take care of them. They're like animals, or they're like children or something. They're living things, and I'm learning with my plants. Some of them have had difficult journeys. As a matter, like at the end of the seasons, at the end of the summer, I went to Home Depot and I saw all these plants on clearance for like $1, and they were like dying and stuff. And I bought a bunch of them, and now they're thriving in my apartment. They just needed a little love,
Yeah, seriously. And sometimes I felt like one of those dying plants sometimes, and then sometimes I felt like one of the thriving ones. Yeah. So, this is a podcast about stories and stories having the power to transform. And something that I always like to ask all of my guests is like, if your story had some sort of theme or message or moral that you really like wanted to relate or stand behind, like what do you think your story and you stand for?
I stand for openness. I give a lot of like speeches to children, and one of the things I say is that I encourage them to go to higher education. I encourage them to go to college and whatnot. And I say when you're in college to do everything you can, because what I did was I went on a bunch of 3 abroads. I did a domestic exchange. I went to NYU for a semester.
Wow.
I was my dorm president. I was in intramurals, kept my grades up. I just did everything I could in college. I started a t-shirt company. I did a lot of stuff. And doing so much opened me up. And I learned so many things from not even inside the classroom at Morehouse where I went. And so I encourage people to step outside their comfort zones and just do whatever you can to learn as much as you can, to open your mind to different things. So I guess the theme of my life has just been to kind of like keep an open mind, and things will the right things will come to you. The universe will put the right things in arm's reach if you allow yourself to receive those things.
Yes. Well, and this is a little bit of a tangent, but when were you at NYU? Because I went to NYU.
Oh, okay, yeah. So my sophomore year, so 2000, maybe 3.
Okay, yeah, I think we were there at like slightly different times.
I stayed right in Union Square in Carlisle.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I totally know that dorm. So, yeah, but I think just like doing and being and not being I think we're always going to be afraid of failure, right? But like being willing to take those risks anyways and to prepare as best you can and then show up for all the myriad of amazing opportunities that life has to offer. Yeah.
And being able to laugh at yourself. And if you fail at something, getting back up, taking that as a lesson. Yeah.
And you said if you fail, but when you fail, it is inevitable.
You're gonna fail, you know? I saw, this is another thing I saw in my office. I saw in my dad's office. And it looked like it was on like a sticky note that he wrote to himself. And it said, if you haven't failed, you haven't pushed the envelope far enough.
Yeah.
It's just like, you better fail. You better do whatever you can until you fail, because then you don't know what you have within you.
Oh yeah, I fail at least once a week.
Yeah.
Probably once a day.
Yeah, me too. Multiple times.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and so where can people get in contact with you? Because I feel like people are going to watch this, they're going to listen to it, they're going to want to buy some furniture, they're going to want to see Ghost Island, they're going to want you to come and speak, because you do a lot. So talk about the things that you do and how people can connect with you.
So I do speaking engagements. I speak at schools. I mentor children, whatever. You can find me at wendellholland.com. That's WENDELLHOLLAND.com. Or for business inquiries or anything, you could go through wendellholland.com. Or you could check out my work, kind of my catalog on Instagram for anything that I've built. It's at Beeve Unlimited. That's BEVE Unlimited.
Okay, awesome. And we'll put all of that in the show notes as well so that people can really link up with you, because I just think your story is inspiring and your work is amazing. So hopefully they can, catch the visual version of it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you again for being on today.
Absolutely, this was awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you to Wendell for being here today and telling his amazing story about strength and resilience and coming through adversity and emerging stronger for it. And in terms of strength, Just Strong, the clothing brand for women, is one of our show sponsors, and they have generously offered 10% off to any viewers or listeners of this podcast. So if you want to avail yourself of that deal, go to www.juststrong.com and enter the coupon code DARALeast10 at checkout for 10% off.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Transformational Storyteller Podcast. As always, thanks to our episode sponsors, our production team at Rebel Hill Consulting, and of course, many thanks to you, the listener.
Whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you're creating stories that empower you and inspire others.